Hello and welcome. My name is Yesenia Soltero, author of Healing is an Art. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Today I'll be sharing the opening section of the book, including the author's note, dedication, acknowledgements, prologue, and chapter 1, Awakening Amongst the Ashes. Whether you're here because someone shared this book with you, because you're curious about healing, or because you're searching for hope, I'm honored that you're here. Let's begin. Author's note. This book is born from my story, from my body, and from my voice as a woman. It will be dishonest to deny that. However, the wounds named here do not belong to a single gender. Silence, emotional exhaustion, guilt, the need to be strong, shame, the desire to heal, these are deeply human experiences. At times, the language you'll find here is gender neutral. At others, it speaks from the feminine, especially when I refer to my own process. This alternation is not a mistake. It is an honest reflection of the path I have walked and how I've learned to name what hurts. This book is written for women and men, for those who are currently walking a healing process, for those who have already walked it, and for those who have not yet dared to speak, but recognize what it means to carry so much in silence. If any word here resonates with you, this book is for you as well. Dedication to my inner child, the one who learned to be strong far too early, the one who survived in silence, the one who never stopped believing, even when she did not understand why it hurt so much. To my daughters, so they may know that healing is possible, the truth sets us free, and that their story will never be defined by pain, but by the love with which they choose to live it. And to you, who are reading these pages today, if this book has reached your hands, it was not by chance. Perhaps you're remembering who you are. Perhaps you're learning how to come home again. You are not alone. You never were. Acknowledgements. This book was not born in solitude. I am deeply grateful to God because even in moments when I did not understand the path, He sustained me, guided me, and allowed me to transform pain into purpose. None of this would have been possible without His grace. To the people who walked beside me, who held me when I could not hold myself, who believed in me even when I was still learning how to do so, you know who you are. Your presence, your support, your faith in me were seeds of life in decisive moments. To those who extended help when I had to begin again, from love, from generosity, and without conditions, your support, emotional, practical, and also financial, not only helped me move forward, it reminded me that kindness exists and that I was not alone. To those who, even without knowing me personally, chose to lend a hand when I needed it the most, your solidarity transformed empty spaces into a livable home and taught me that love can also arrive through quiet gestures. To my family, for your patience, your love, and your constant presence, even when my own strength faltered. This book is yours as well. Thank you for being part of my story and for reminding me that healing is not an individual act, but a path that is often walked together. Prologue. This book was not born from theory, it was born from experience. For many years, I learned how to survive, to hold others, to keep moving forward even when, inside, I was fragmented. Like many people, I continued on without stopping to listen to what my body, my history, and my soul were asking for. Healing did not arrive as an immediate answer. It arrived as a process, sometimes uncomfortable, sometimes quiet, but deeply transformative. Along that path, writing became a safe space. Reflection became a tool for clarity, and artificial intelligence, used with intention and awareness, became a mirror that allowed me to ask deeper questions and to look at my story with new eyes. This book does not intend to tell you who you are or what you should do with your life. It is not a guide to fixing yourself because you're not broken. It is an invitation to listen to yourself, to observe yourself with honesty, to reclaim parts of you that may have been placed on pause while you were doing the best you could with what you had. Here, you will not find magic formulas. You will find questions, spaces, and proposals for self-reflection designed to accompany you with respect, compassion, and autonomy. If this book has reached your hands, I trust that it's not by chance. Take what serves you, move at your own pace, and remember, healing is not a destination. It's a living process. Healing is an art, and so are you. Chapter 1: Awakening Among the Ashes. Sometimes life does not break us all at once. Sometimes it fractures us slowly. Through wounds, silences, betrayals, and humiliations, we learn to carry in secret. One day, the body stops resisting and the soul cries out, "Enough." That day arrived for me after many years of demanding more from myself than I had to give, of minimizing my own pain, and of convincing myself that I had to keep moving forward without feeling. What once seemed like an ending, I know now was the beginning of my rebirth. The day I hit rock bottom, there was a moment when, searching for answers, I allowed myself to look at myself without filters. I used a tool for reflection, an impartial mirror, that helped me put into words what had long remained silent. For the first time, I was able to name my wounds, early experiences that marked my body and mind, boundaries crossed before I knew how to protect myself, situations that made me believe the guilt belonged to me. That moment brought back dormant memories, not as scenes, but as sensations: fear, confusion, shame, a sadness I had learned to store deep within. I understood then something essential. None of it had been my fault. I also understood how much had accumulated over the years. I was living in a constant state of tension, trapped in a spiral of emotional and physical exhaustion that manifested in my body. Insomnia, anxiety, internal pressure, a need to fill voids that nothing external could soothe. When the body cries, what the soul silences. For a long time, I ignored the signals: persistent pain, extreme fatigue, rigidity, a constant sense of holding too much. They were the voice of an overburdened soul. From a very young age, I had to learn to normalize discomfort, to interpret suffering as something to be endured in silence, to believe that strength meant not stopping, not feeling, not asking for help. In adulthood, that pattern repeated itself, accepting the weight, minimizing my emotions, continuing forward even when everything inside me was asking for rest. All of it kept accumulating like a pressure that sooner or later needed an outlet. The night I met God. One night, I sought a space of silence and inward gathering. I sat down, closed my eyes, and let the music guide my breath. Each note seemed to pass through layers of tension I had been carrying for years. In that moment, I remembered the Japanese art of kintsugi, where broken pieces are repaired with gold. I understood that my cracks were not defects. They were part of my story, and they could become my beauty. There in the silence, I felt a presence, that does not judge or accuse, it only holds. I heard deep within my heart, enough. It was not your fault. You can let go now. I am here to protect you. I spoke to myself with tenderness. I promised that part of me, the one who had been alone and afraid for so long, that I would no longer abandon her. That was my true awakening amongst the ashes. Final reflection. That day, I understood that healing does not mean forgetting, but rather no longer living from the wound, that my scars could become strength, that God's love can enter even through the cracks I most wanted to hide. If today you feel broken, I want you to know this. Within you, there's a fire that can be rekindled. It does not matter how deep the wounds are or how many times you have fallen. You can rise. You can rebuild yourself. You can heal. My story did not end that night. It was only the beginning. Now I needed to learn how to name the pain, to understand the weight of the silence I had carried since childhood. That was the next step on my path, and that is where the next chapter of my story begins. Thank you for spending time with me. If these words resonated with you, I invite you to join me next week for Chapter 2 of Healing is an Art. Before we close, I'd like to share a short piece of music that was inspired by the reflection on this chapter. The songs connected to the book can be found in the Healing is an Art playlist on YouTube and digital music platforms. This recording was narrated by the author. Minor pauses, emotional moments, and imperfections have been intentionally preserved to honor the authenticity of the reading experience and to remind us that healing itself is rarely perfect. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. Healing is an art, and so are you.
I didn't break all at once. I learned to carry quietly. Every wound, every silence became a part